Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I'm joined by my good friend Kyle Curtis-Flett. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. It's been a good day. And how's your day going?
I'm doing very well, man. I'm so glad we were able to finally get together to do this. Kyle became a huge horror fan about 22 years ago. It is his favorite genre. He has his YouTube channel, Fletts House of Horror. I have all the links for that down here in the description, as well as his social media links. So make sure you guys are going and subscribing to his channel. Make sure you're following him on social media so you can stay up to date on what he does. Kyle not only has a huge passion for what he does, but he also hopes to make horror movies someday. Before we get started on the reason you're here, Kyle, first off, can you tell people a little bit about your channel and what you do over there?
Well, I started Fletts House of Horror in May, and I do interviews, movie rankings, watch-alongs, and a lot of other fun stuff on that channel.
Yeah, man. Anything horror, man. We're all down to watch. And I love your channel. When we were able to finally connect to do this, I was very excited because I love to be able to sit down and watch some of your rankings too. I love watching people's horror rankings. It's one of my favorite things to do when I have downtime. Just turn on YouTube and type in horror rankings and just watch what everybody does. When my friends do it, I really enjoy watching it. And when you talk about how you would like to make horror movies someday, do you mean like you'd like to write, direct, act? What would you like to do in the horror world?
For me, I would love to direct, produce, screenplay, and all those behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah,
I
man.
always had
So
a passion for that.
have you ever written any screenplays or do you have anything written that you've done or?
Back in high school, I written this horror movie, this short horror screenplay that we had to do, and that was a long time ago. But it's gotten lost. But I did write a
Well,
horror
and the cool thing
screenplay.
about that is you were able to write it. And did you get to direct a little bit of it? Is it like it's something you guys did at school or was it just something you did for fun?
Yeah, we had to direct this one short, and it was
That's
almost like
awesome, man.
it was almost like we made it into a horror trailer, so it looks like it's really intense.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you got to do that. And hopefully those dreams come true. There's nothing better to me than watching people's dreams come true. So I hope to someday be watching Kyle Flett presents the movie that you've got out, man. I hope that someday that can happen and the world can get a glimpse inside the brain of yours when it comes to horror. I think that'd be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So the reason we're here today, my friend, we talk about the future and right now, but I want to take it back to the past, Kyle, and I want to talk about what you started in the horror genre. What started turning your clock? So your first horror movie was
The Shining.
what a
It,
great start. I got my Jack Torrance jacket and shirt on right now in honor of the occasion, my friend. Do you remember how old you were the first time you had seen it, Kyle?
it would have been 1998, so I would have been like it would have been like three or four around that age.
Mm-hmm. Man, what a young age to start. And you just made me feel so old to know that you were 3 or 4 in 1998.
Yeah.
And this is an amazing movie. This is a movie that, and I got to clear the air. We're talking about the Shining film, not the Stephen King made for TV movie, right? We're talking the one with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So with this movie, do you know who you were with? Do you remember who you were with the first time you had seen it?
There was a couple of cousins in the basement. We were watching it.
That's always the best way to watch a horror movie, man. Okay, I'm sorry. It's really hot in my house, so I got to take my Jack Torrance jacket off. I apologize.
It's all good.
Sorry, everybody. Way too hot for me to wear that right now. So we talk about The Shining, and this is a movie that I think everybody agrees there's so much influence in the horror genre when it comes to The Shining. Not only is it a Stephen King written, but you have everything that goes along with this movie. I mean, in every episode I do, my keychain for room 217 is behind me all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's always hanging up right here. It's always right there in the background because that's how much this movie means to me. I absolutely adore this movie. But which scene, because there's a lot of very effective scene in this movie, especially for a young boy when you're watching it 3 or 4 years old. Which scene, Kyle, would you say affected you the most from The Shining?
Well, the one that really most affected me the most was when the kid was driving his bike around the hotel, and then he gets and sees the twins, and then they flash back to him, and then they flash back when they're dead with the axe and all the blood over the place. That freaked me out as when I was a kid.
Oh, I totally agree. Because especially when you see kids, when you're a kid and you see the kids, that's relatable. I can feel like them because they're just like me. They're a child just like me. So I think when we're kids and we watch the children doing things, it's easier for us to relate to the children than it is to the adults that are going through this stuff. So when you think about The Shining, Kyle, what do you think the first thing that pops into your head is?
When I think about The Shine, Jack Nicholson going all crazy. He has that facial expression when he jumps to the door and says, "Hey, Johnny,"
Here's Johnny.
and then
Yeah.
goes all nuts from there. And
Do
that
you want to talk
hotel,
about? Go ahead.
that hotel was very creepy, and the way the winter storm added to the tone of the film.
Yeah. Oh, the Overlook it's amazing, man. And that's the place that's on my bucket list to visit before I pass. And you talk about Jack Nicholson. I don't think you could have had a better cast in this movie with Shelley Duvall and Jack Nicholson. Those two, the chemistry they have with each other is so great. And I know that she went through a whole lot on set, and it's unfortunate, all the shit that she went through, the way that they treated her. But it came out great in the end, and she said that she's forgiven, she's forgotten, that the movie turned out great. She loves it. But Jack Nicholson in this film, you can make the argument that he's both the hero and the villain of the film. And it's not very often that you can make that argument for certain characters in certain films. So, Kyle, we talked about which scene affected you the most, because as a young boy, I'm sure that had to hit hard with you watching this little boy and then these two girls that end up being dead. But what would you say your favorite scene from The Shining is?
Oh, my favorite scene is when they walk into that, when they finally walk into the room and sees the lady in the bathtub. That's such a great scene.
And it's terrifying how she turns into the monster, oh, no thanks. I'm good. This is a movie that also it dives into trauma. There's a whole lot of trauma in this movie with the child abuse, even though he didn't mean to hurt him, he did. Alcoholism, the addiction that comes with this movie. Obviously, as children, we don't understand those, but as adults, the themes that come along with this movie make it more than a horror movie, because it's a lot of relatable stuff that really goes deeper than that. With this being now, it's a part of a franchise. There's 2 films. Which one do you prefer, Dr. Sleep or The Shining?
Well, for me, it's The Shine, but Dr. Street is a good follow-up.
Absolutely. And what I love about Dr. Sleep is for the first 3/4 of the movie, it could be its own film until they get to the Overlook and you have a lot of the new shots, that are kind of redone. It could really be its own film. It doesn't have to be a Shining sequel. It could just be done in the same universe. Obviously, you have Danny, but I really think that it could have stood alone as its own film. It's hard for me. I love them both for different reasons. So I'm glad you have a definitive answer. Unfortunately, I don't. Now, there's not too many kills in this movie. This is a movie that killing is not what is the scariest part of this film, but there are certain kills in this movie. And I always ask this question, Kyle, so I got to ask you, my friend, which kill is your favorite from The Shining?
When he kills the bald-headed, almost like the caretaker guy, that kill.
When he gets him with the axe, is that what you mean?
Yeah, when he gets him the axe.
And it's so surprising at that moment, too, because you don't expect it. All of a sudden he just comes out from around that corner and gets him, and he's just, done. Like, that's such a great scene. So Kyle, we talked about your first horror movie, which is The Shining, and how much that movie truly affected you. And I can't imagine watching this at that young of an age. But now, my friend, because you are big in the horror world, horror is something that means a lot to you. I want to throw you a little bit of a curveball here. We know what your first horror movie was, but now, Kyle, I'm going to go scream on you here for a second. What's your favorite scary movie? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh, man, I got lots of them, but I will say The Exorcist, the number one. But I got many, but that just to make it easy on me, I'll say The Exorcist because it's definitely up there for one of my arguably for number one. There's a lot of other ones I like, but I'll just say The Exorcist because Linda Blair's performance as Reagan was great.
Yeah,
twists her head like really, and then she does the spider crawl down the stairs, and then the shot, that was a great shot of her when she's standing there. And you just don't mess with Ouija boards.
And the thing is, I've always said The Exorcist isn't even my favorite in that franchise. I think I like The Exorcist 3 more than I like The Exorcist. But I do think that The Exorcist is the scariest movie ever made. I'm very excited for Blumhouse to do a reboot of it. I'm very excited to see where they go in the sequel of it. But I don't think that anything will ever affect me the way watching The Exorcist did, because that felt real to me. Even at a young age, it felt very real. So there was something about The Exorcist that always stuck with me too, because it felt like a real type of film, not like just monsters and all that. But I grew up in in a religious family, so anything with religious undertones was very scary to me. So would you say that The Exorcist is the scariest movie you've ever seen, or what movie scared you the most?
The Exorcist, when I was younger, definitely scared me. Now it doesn't now, but it did definitely had an effect on first watched it.
What
But
about now? What do you think the scariest movie you've ever seen is now?
I would have to say that's a tie between The Exorcism of Emily Rose or
Mhm.
the Conjuring movies or one Insidious, where they get more religious, more realistic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I absolutely. You know what? I'm gonna spoil something here for you guys. Coming up in a couple weeks, I have my. I'm gonna be doing a live episode of my top 10 favorite PG-13 horror movies. You may or may not see The Exorcism of Emily Rose on there. And here's a fun fact about that movie. There was a scene, and forgive me, I can't remember the lead actress's name, her real name, but she made this face, and it was so scary, the face that she made, that the MPAA said they were going to give it an R rating. And the director fought and fought and fought to keep it in there. But they said, if you keep it in there, we're going to give it an R rating. So he had to cut that scene. And he said it bums him out so bad because it was so beautiful and so awesome, but it was so terrifying. But he wanted to keep it as a PG-13 movie. So the Exorcism of Emily Rose is great. It's a great film. Have you seen The Dark and the Wicked?
Yes, I did once, but
That
that's
movie,
quite.
I watched that movie at like 3 p.m, brother, and that movie scared the shit out of me. If you guys haven't seen The Dark and the Wicked, it's available on Shudder. It's available on Prime. It's available for physical media for all you physical media people. Just like my friend Kyle here has got his collection in the back there. You see how amazing I see Blu-rays everywhere over there. So if you are a fan of physical media, I would strongly, strongly recommend picking up The Dark and the Wicked. One of my favorite movies to come out in a long time. Very scary, very emotional. It had everything I love in horror. So I want to talk about your physical media here for a second, Kyle. I see you got a lot of Blu-rays, DVDs back there. What's your favorite film that you have that you own behind you?
Oh, let me see.
I think I see some PlayStation games in there too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, at the very top. Then there's a lot of horror movies behind there. But for me, one of them I love the original Black Christmas.
Yes. Dude, what an amazing slasher film that does not get the credit that it deserves.
It deserves more what it gets.
Yeah, I totally think that really helped to kick off the slasher craze, man. Black Christmas is such a great movie, and Olivia Hussey does an amazing job in that movie. What an amazing film.
And the mystery, they made it look like it was the boyfriend, and then at the end he's still there, so you don't really know who Billy really is.
I love it. See, and I'm not a fan of the remake or the newest reboot. I was not a big fan of those. I'm not inherently against remakes, Kyle. I think that remakes can be great if they're done right, but that one just didn't do anything for me at all. It's much like Poltergeist and Pet Sematary. I just thought they were unnecessary. There was no reason for them.
Pet Sematary basically spoiled the whole twist in their trailer in a way. The remake.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. So you talk about video games too. Do you do any horror video games?
Yes. Alien Isolation, Friday the 13th the game, Dead by Daylight, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, all those kinds.
Have you done any of the what are they? You had Men of Medan, Little Hope. What is the name
Until
of that?
Dawn?
Yeah. Have you played any of those ones?
Yes, I do also have them. They're on the top shelf.
I really enjoy those. Like I don't video game much, man. I'm an old man, so I kind of just sit and watch my son. He's 13 and he's damn good at video games. And we really got into the Men of Medan and the Little Hope, those anthologies, and the new one's coming out here in a couple of weeks. So I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I got that pre-ordered. So
yeah, we're very excited about that. Let me know, man, how you think of it. Maybe we can stay in contact. Maybe we can do something with that too. That'd be a lot of fun. We do a review or something.
Sounds good. I'll definitely be up for that.
Yeah, man, sounds good to me too. So Kyle, before I let you go, my friend, we all go back to the same question. We're talking about your first horror movie, which was in this case, obviously, The Shining. What would you say? We're gonna do a skull count now. 0 skulls being the worst and 5 being the best. Now we're not judging it on production or acting or anything like that, my friend. What we're doing right now is we're just ranking this movie on a skull count for how it affected you on first viewing. So 0 skulls being the worst and 5 being the best. what would your ranking of The Exorcist be?
Yeah, just says 5 out of 5.
Or not the Shining. Sorry, I'm still got
Shining.
the
Oh,
Exorcist on my brain.
but
The Shining.
same
What would your
same
ranking of
thing.
The Shining be?
Same thing for Shining. 'Cause it really messes you psychologically.
Yeah. So I apologize for that, everybody. It's been one of those days, and we've been talking about a whole lot of films and video games right now, so I'm all excited. So one last question for you. This is something I'm going to start asking. This is the first time I've asked it. I'm going to start asking this question on every podcast, Kyle, and I saved this question specifically for yours. Would you like to see a Shining remake done today?
No, because I don't think they would not be able to capture the magic of what the original Shining did for the moviegoers back then, and especially the new generation that watches it. I don't think they'll be able to find that right after the match, what Nicholson did.
I've always said if they did The Shining today, and this is no bullshit, I've said this for a long time because I'd love to see it. I would love to see Devon Sawa play the role of Jack. I think Devon Sawa could absolutely crush that role, or get like Jim Carrey. Like I think I know that sounds silly, but I really think Jim Carrey could carry that role. Like you watch Jim Carrey in The Number 23 or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where Jim Carrey does these serious roles. He's a great actor. And I think that Jim Carrey, he has that goofiness to him too, just like Jack Nicholson. You know, when Jack Nicholson got this role, it was the same thing. But Jack Nicholson has that goofiness to him too, which really comes out when he's walking up the stairs and doing, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. Bash them right the fuck in. You know, he has those moments of goofiness on top that makes it that much scarier because you know he's goofy, but he's scary. So I'm with you. I don't think it should happen. But if it does, I'd love to see Devon Sawa, or I would absolutely adore to see Jim Carrey play the role of Jack in the new film.
Yeah, because he's done a lot of great drama roles too. I think he can pull it off if they do the film right.
Yeah.
I think he can pull it off.
Absolutely, man. So this has been so much fun, Kyle. I'm so glad and I'm honored to have you on. I'm even more honored to call you a friend. So thank you for doing this with me. I want to remind everybody one more time. I have all of Kyle's links down here in the description. So make sure you're subbing to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you're clicking on his social media links. Give him a follow. He's a great follow. And don't go anywhere, Kyle. I got a couple more questions for you, brother. Everybody else, as always, keep talking horror. Stay what you are. And we'll see you guys soon.